Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our banter, where we talk about the story Cicada narrated for the week, what parts we liked, and what we didn't like about it. This week, I believe we're having two animal fun facts. I'm gonna start with mine, and then I'll let you lead with your Cicada.
Sounds good.
My crow fun fact is in the winter, crows will gather by the thousands and huddle up for warmth when they sleep. So they just bring all the boys. They have a good old sleepover.
A little crow slumber party. Um,
Exactly.
uh, Mine is that the joke that Adamses makes when all the crows are dead. He's like, now that's what I call a murder, is because a flock of crows is called a murder.
Yeah, that that's a pretty cool fun fact. The murderer crows right there. You know, they're not
Ha
flock
ha.
cameras, they're murders. Ha ha ha, knee slappers. All right. Do you want to start us off this week?
yeah. I'd say overall pretty good story. I was a fan. Written pretty well, decent timeline of events. Had, uh, you know, an intro, a problem, a resolution. Perfect story. That's it right there. But no, my first point for it was with the kid that's doing all this stuff, why doesn't he set up cameras or call the cops or press charges? It the bank was fixing to foreclose his farm. This kid had done thousands of dollars in damages. You'd think you'd do something.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. He didn't do anything other than like I think he talked to the kid's parent. Like people knew that the kid was fucking with him. It just seemed like no one really cared. Which, I mean, at some point, you've got to start assembling evidence. Like, if the system isn't going to help you, you have to help yourself.
Yeah, and it explains in the story, Tanak makes the point of saying that everybody knew that the kid was doing it. Clearly, if they go to court and there's a jury, it's not going to be a very fair trial. The jury all knows they're going to convict the kid. Sue him. Do something. He burned
Exactly.
20% of his crops at one point.
Yeah, no. And it also sounds like the kid isn't liked at all. Because when the kid goes missing, when he goes to the big city, um, only the parents really care. Like, everyone else is like, oh, he's gone. I mean, I can't imagine Adams is the only person the kid is disrupting. Maybe Adams is getting the brunt of it all, but I'm sure he's just a troublemaker through and through. Fucks with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we keep saying kid, but at the point of this story, he's an adult. He's over 18. They say that once he turned 18, everything just ramped up. That's an adult. He can be tried as an adult, and those are criminal felony charges that everybody is just letting this human being get away with. Ridiculous.
It is kind of ridiculous, but I'm sure we could talk about this kid getting away with major crime for a minute. Let's switch it up a bit. Do you think the nightmare Adams had before the kid was murdered, do you think that was a warning sent by whatever possesses the scarecrow to Adams to be like, I'm protecting the crop. You better not harvest it when it's done. Because it kind of showed how Adams was going to die.
I think that his nightmare wasn't necessarily a nightmare, more the whatever was inhabiting the field was showing what was happening through the kid's eyes. The Byron boy, for the record. Um, it was showing what was happening through the Byron boy's eyes to him to show him that, like, we're taking care of it, boss. We got you.
Okay. So you think the Scarecrow and Adams are connected? Yeah?
Yeah, I was kind of gonna bring it up like right after this, but I personally, because that was gonna be one of my questions, was what do you think like this is in the field? Because I believe that it's like a manifestation of Adams's like anger and rage and resentfulness to the bank, his life, this Byron boy, everything has just manifested into these. I wouldn't even say the scarecrows themselves. I would say like the field.
Okay. I really couldn't. Two things, two-parter. I'm gonna wrap back into it. But first off, let's talk about these scarecrows, what I think they are. I do think the scarecrows are, I assume they were a spirit. Like, just looking for a host, and Adams created that host out of hatred, and it was a perfect place for this evil being to live in. That's just the first thought in my mind. Rolling it back a bit, if Adams and the Scarecrow are connected, and Adams was able to see through the boy's eyes what was happening, why didn't the Scarecrow show what it was doing to all the crows? Because Adams just walked out to the field and stumbled across a dead murder of crows.
I would like to believe that that was just some sort of like, I don't really have a good way to describe it, just like shock factor. Because I mean, they're crows, Most small animals scare them bad enough and they just keel over. It's a defense mechanism almost at this point.
Okay, so the crows were just afraid by the presence of the Scarecrow. So the Scarecrow didn't need to do any work. It didn't need to like actively hunt the crows down. But with the Byron
Yeah,
boy, he's not afraid of a Scarecrow. He was going to mess with the fields. So the Scarecrow had to actually do something about it.
yeah, I think like there was some sort of like miasma or existence around the field and the scarecrow that just scared the crows to death because it says that there's no physical damage to any crow. They all just have a look of terror on them. But the Byron boy, a bit stronger willed, the scarecrow knew that it actually had to hunt him down and murder him himself.
That makes sense. Okay. Speaking of the Byron
And
boy.
mhm,
Oh, after you.
sorry, with your other thing specifically, like the seeing through the scarecrow or seeing through the Byron boy's eyes, I think it was just kind of a connection because he kind of willed this all into existence. I don't think it was purposeful in any way, like the scarecrow wasn't showing him. It was just a connection.
Okay, kind of like he was able to see this because he's the creator. And it's not like the Scarecrow's going out of its way to show Adams that this is just Adam willed it into existence, and it's just doing what he requested.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And I like that. With speaking of the Byron boy, what do you have buried the kid? I know Adams talks about why he did, but assuming this is like modern times, I feel like, if he thought it was there was a murderer loose. I feel like you don't hide that. Maybe, the coroner could come, they could pull some hair on his jacket, do some detective work, find out who the killer is.
I Yes, but think about it this way. This kid's been tormenting you for years. Everybody knows it. He's done thousands of dollars in damages. And then suddenly he goes there one night. There's a sickle through his head. His throat's been slit and he's gutted. It's your sickle. It's your field. You're the only person for miles. And there's no real boot prints in the field except for yours going out there and coming back.
Like, I understand. It definitely looks bad. I I guess kind of going back to what we first talked about, the security cameras. I feel like all this could have been avoided if he had some cameras up. Avoided in the sense of I don't think the Byron's boy death could have been avoided, but maybe the farmer could have lived if he watched his scarecrow, who he willed into existence by saying protect the crop, watched it murder the Byron boy. I, I don't know. That just
I to-
I don't know if I would bury the body immediately.
yeah, I think that I would probably try to hide it if I was in the exact shoes of the farmer because I mean his fingerprints are probably on that sickle. He's the only person that uses it, and I highly doubt he washes the handle all the time. But you are correct. I don't think that the Byron boy's death was purposeful. It was just so happened to be, he willed this all into existence because of the crows, and then the scarecrow ended up killing him too.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, we're going back to this burying the body. There was zero blood on any of the farmer's clothes. I mean, I can't imagine, you know, a sickle is the most cleanliest weapon of choice. I feel like there would have to be splatter. There'd have to be some evidence tying it back to the farmer, other than circumstantial evidence of it's his land and his sickle.
Yeah, but I mean, burn the clothes or bury the clothes, do anything before you call the cops. It is all circumstantial, but I think that it would be more than enough for a jury to convict him, and I think that knows that.
Fair enough. All right. Let's let's move on from that. Sticking to the Byron kid though. Why do you think when he rose out of the ground, why do you think he was saying protect the crop? That that's my question for you, Mr. Cicada.
Same same reason why the Crow Man is in there too and walking around and it rats out Adams while he's hiding. It's all connected through the field. So I think that they're different beings, but they're like a hive mind almost. There's no longer individuality between them.
Okay. So, I guess a question for that. Do you think if the Byron boy was buried off of the field, he would not have come back?
100%.
So, using he never buried the crows though. Or do you think because he
Correct.
sowed them and planted them in the field, that's enough?
Yeah, like the field itself is what's doing this. Whether it's, I guess I said like the dirt, but I guess think of it like a cube almost that like goes into the ground and goes above it as well. Anything that's in that area is now part of whatever's happening in there.
Okay. I so this curse has mineral rights and it also owns the area above the field. I like that. A nice
Yeah, the
little
curse has
cube.
mineral rights and it owns the airspace above it.
It,
For the record,
okay.
with the crows, and sorry, I'm gonna go back to this court case really quick. He really didn't do himself any favors by taking 50 crows and sewing them into a being to get him out of not being blamed for the Byron boy's death because that is some maniac level garbage. What are you doing? Why would you do that?
The Crow Man is pretty normal, right? It's spooky, it scares the crows away. I
What
can't
crows?
I can't imagine I can't imagine what the crow looks like, the Crow Man. But the way I would like to see it is it's got two little crows, two little crow faces as feet. You know, it's got crow knees. All the joints, I imagine, are crow heads. Um, I bet you the crow man looks pretty dapper in
He's
comparison to the
he
first scarecrow.
he looks like a Crow Magnum. Sorry.
But yeah, you're
Oh
right.
man.
He's not doing himself any favors.
No, by making a human body out of crows, that's foul. Who who looks at a bunch of dead crows and goes, "I'm going to sew those together into the form of a person." Maniac. Maniacs do that.
Maniacs, but you know, he was using his resources at hand. You gotta give him credit there. And the fact he
He
was
is
able to sew it
resourceful.
all together, which I imagine he did that all by hand sewing, not whipped out the old sewing machine and slapped some crows on there. So that probably took some time. Some dedication went
I'm
into that.
sorry.
He really had to sit down and commit.
Crows on a sewing machine is comical to me. Um but no, I mean, yeah, like he had to active, and I would assume that if you pierced a crow's skin with a needle, it's probably going to start bleeding. I would There had to be so much blood in there because
He
it was
pro
to make a person out of crows. That's what, 50, 60 crows.
Yeah, I'd say so. Some 50, 60. That's probably a lot of crow
It
blood. Do you think he drained the crows?
No, I think that this freakazoid was just out there stitching them together. And what did he do with the feet? Is there just a like 120 crow feet dangling around, wiggling around as the crow man moves? Because that noise is probably horrendous.
Yeah, no, I believe that. Okay, so instead of the hay stuffing, it's just all the feet are inward. So when it moves
It
around,
does
like
say
from
that all
its
the
chest,
faces
you
point
just
out.
yeah. I bet you those feet are still on there. I wonder how do you
Gross.
do it? Do you like spread their wings out, attach like wing to wing type deal, get the most area out of each crow?
You know,
Never mind.
I I say I would
Never,
love to dive into the logistics of making a crow
never
man
mind.
with you, but I don't want to do that.
Never. Let's move on.
Yeah, I guess my last point for the story is the ending. Um, I personally, this town is just so, all right, yeah, whatever. Like the farmer disappears, the boy disappears, two more scarecrows randomly appear in this field, both of them looking very humanoid, and the bank is like, "Nah, leave it alone." And then everyone's like, "Hey, that's a pretty cool tourist attraction. Let's take pictures." What?
Yeah, no, I mean, you've got to every town needs its thing that makes it popular and you know, Farmer Adams provides. The Crow Man, that was a banger. His first scarecrow kind of mid. Um but he just be producing these very interesting looking scarecrows and he started moving on to like modeling. I heard he moved up to Hollywood to make like clay models. True
Oh
story by
yeah,
the way.
yeah. You know, I heard
But
I heard that he disappeared into the ether and made himself a lifelike scarecrow himself while he was gone.
you know, whatever you want to say, whatever. I love the town for this though.
Yeah,
All right,
to me, to just, I mean, the police don't
Skata.
investigate.
I think it's time to start doing these ratings.
All right, all right.
If you want, we could continue about the police first. We could talk about this a little bit more.
No, no, it's okay. It's just comical to me and interesting. It seems like a plot hole, but I'm okay with it. I can survive. You want me to go first?
I'd love you to go first.
All right. Um, like I said, good story, good plot devices. It runs very smoothly. I would probably have to give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay. I love the unique idea. I there's some plot holes. Like you said, the police, the biggest plot hole here is the police. But all that being said, it's a short read, it's a good read. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. 10X, a new author, I believe. We only found one other story written by them, and this story was posted just a month ago. So honestly, I'm excited for the rest of their works. But
Yeah.
on that note, I do think. Oh, after you.
No, I was just saying that maybe next week might be another one of their stories, actually.
Only time will tell, Cicada. But on that note, I do think it's time to bar the barn doors, and we'll see you all next week.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Cow.
Good night, Cicada.